Hi, I'm Diane, and welcome to GLP-1 Chronicles. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've watched any of my other videos, thanks for coming back. As you can see, I have decided to change locations. It's actually a very beautiful day out here on Long Island, so I'm sitting out in my yard. You can see some of the beautiful lilac bush that my husband planted a few years ago. Quite fragrant right now. I apologize for my somewhat disheveled appearance. I just got back from riding my bike, doing one of my training rides for next week's time trial. I was pretty slow, but that's okay. I was having fun. That's the important thing. If I don't beat my time from last year, that's okay. I didn't really ride all winter, so how things go sometimes. Today I wanted to talk about non-scale victories. If you, like me, did Weight Watchers in the early 2000s, that was a big thing. NSVs, but they are important, so I thought I would talk about them today. So if you're not familiar, a non-scale victory is basically that. It's anything that you can point to unrelated to your weight on the scale that you can take as a victory. I have quite a few that I've been able to accomplish over the years, so I thought maybe I'd share some of them with you, and you could use them as points to look at for your own journey within using GLP-1s. When you're trying to lose weight, we all become so fixated on that number on the scale, and a lot of times it can really get you down if the scale isn't moving as quickly as you want it to. I know that I've been frustrated. I'm frustrated now because the scale's not moving for me, and you can get down and it can get in your head, and it could keep you from accomplishing your goals. So if you look at non-scale victories as just that, a victory, it could help keep you motivated to move forward and continue on. So I'm going to start with some of these smaller non-scale victories. And they're small, but they're not unimportant. One of the ones, and it's going to sound silly, for me was the ability to cross my legs. At my highest weight, I couldn't do that. It was too painful. I would have to actually lift my leg up and place it on my other leg, and I couldn't hold it there for any real length of time. It would just hurt too much. Another one is being able to bend over and tie my shoes. I had gained so much weight, I had quite a big belly, and to bend over to tie my sneakers, it would hurt. And so I started buying slip-in shoes, including slip-in sneakers, and thankfully they're all the rage, so it wasn't so bad. But I had to do that because it just was too painful to bend over and tie my shoes. One of my major non-scale victories is I'm no longer in constant pain. I used to be in pain from the time I got up in the morning till the time I went to sleep at night. I'd wake up during the night in pain. My legs would hurt, my back would hurt, everything hurt. And I mean, it's a terrible way to live, to be in just constant pain. And with the pain, I also had a lot of inflammation, especially in my lower legs and in my feet. And I mean, it just hurt all the time. I don't have that kind of pain anymore. Once in a while I'll have some creakiness, but some of that might be just getting old. So some mornings I wake up and my back is sore or whatever, but it's not like it used to be. I apologize for the background noise. It seems everybody in the neighborhood decided the moment that I came out here to start filming that they were going to make noise, and the fire sirens gone off and ambulances gone by, and I don't know what's going on. in town, but you probably can hear, you may be able to hear the sirens going every once in a like that. Yeah, as soon as I sat down, figures, right? Never a dull moment. Another NSV, which is a pretty major one, is the ability to go up a flight of stairs without being completely out of breath or having to stop. You know, I live in a 2-story house with a basement, and I have to go up and down the stairs every day, do laundry, to go upstairs and take care of things. And I can do that now, no problem, and I don't get out of breath. I work on the 2nd floor of a building, and I used to always take the elevator when I was at my heaviest weight, because it was too painful to try to walk up a flight of stairs. And I'd have to stop midway, and I was holding onto the railing, and I was breathing heavy, and it would take a while for me to catch my breath. And now I can just go up the stairs like it's no problem at all. And that's a really great feeling. Okay, I'm gonna try to power through this because one of my neighbors has decided to work in his yard. That's really annoying. Anyway, when I was heavier, I used to do a lot of, during the pandemic, I was doing a lot of bird watching. I was working from home, and so I would go out just to get out of the house and do some bird watching. And I was to the point where I could only walk maybe a quarter of a mile, and I always had to plan where I was going, that there would be places that I could stop and rest, that the walk to see something or to do something wasn't too bad, wasn't too far. All right, now you can hear the train. I swear, it's like it just everybody decided all at once to come outside. It was so quiet when I got home. Anyway, being able to now walk, I don't have to stop every quarter mile and rest or sit down. I can go to one of our local parks, and I can walk between 4 and 5 miles without any problems. I'm sore when I'm done, but I'm able to do it. And in fact, in the December of 2023, Bob, my husband, and I did a 4-mile run walk. We walked, everybody else was running it. Okay, I gave up. I had to relocate back into the house because another neighbor decided they were going to start working in their yard at that same moment too. So I had, in stereo, I had gas blowers and everything else going on. Anyway, like I said, in December of 2023, Bob and I signed up to do a 4-mile run/walk. We walked, everybody else ran. We walked because, one, there was no way I was going to be running 4 miles, or I don't run, period. And second, Bob had just had his 2nd knee replacement, and his doctor told him he wasn't allowed to run, much to his chagrin. But we did the walk. I'll insert a picture of us actually crossing the finish line. That day it poured. We got 3 miles into a 4-mile walk, and it just came down in sheets. So as we're crossing the finish line, just know that we were completely drenched. But when I was at my highest weight, or even 50 pounds heavier, there was no way that I was going to do a 4-mile walk. And so just having the ability to move more easily, and to just do something fun, like do a charity walk or anything like that. I couldn't even dream of that when I was heavier. So that's a pretty major NSV, if you ask me. Another thing you'll hear people talk about is to take pictures before and after. I did not do that. I hate having my picture taken, and so I have always resisted that. And this was no different. I didn't take any before pictures. I'll try to post a couple of pictures. These aren't me at my highest weight, but I was pretty far up there, and I don't look happy. If you look at these pictures, you can just see it on my face that I'm not happy with how I look. But one thing I wish I had actually done is do the before photos. I've always been the type that I did not want to have my picture taken. And so I think in my own head, if I didn't have photo evidence of how I looked, I wasn't that bad. I didn't look as bad as I thought. I always thought that I looked better than I actually did. That I didn't look as heavy. And so I was kind of in denial. And when you see a picture of yourself at your highest weight, or, down 10 pounds or whatever it is, it's sobering and it's scary. And I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't even face that. So I don't have any before photos, and I haven't been taking photos on my journey. But if you are just starting out on your GLP-1 journey, I would encourage you to do so, because it's visual evidence that you can see that you're changing. And that's something I wish I had had. I wish I hadn't been so afraid to take the photos of myself, so I could have that now that I can look at, especially now that I'm kind of struggling to lose more weight. And I could look at that and say, look at all the hard work I've done so far. Look how far I've come. It's not going to be that much more work to finish the job. I wish I had that motivational tool to push me forward. And that's something I do regret. I regret not taking the before photos. Another thing that you can do, and which is more evidence that shows your progress and how much work you've done, is to measure yourself. I didn't do this at the beginning because I couldn't face seeing those actual numbers of how large I was. But about 9-10 months into the process, I actually went and I measured. I have my handy dandy little thing here. I measured my chest, my stomach, my waist, my hips, right and left arm, right and left wrist, right and left thigh, right and left calf, and right and left ankle. And in September of 2023, which was when my first measurement was, my chest was 56, my stomach was 56, my waist was 52, and my hips were 59. And then what I've been doing, or trying to do every 6 months or so, is retake those measurements. I don't do it every month. I like having that gap so you can see more significant progress. So I haven't done it. The last time I did measurements was in January, the end of January, and I'm down 5.5 inches in my chest, 4.5 inches in my stomach. Math is not my strong point. 4.5 inches in my waist, and 4.5 inches in my hips. So that's a pretty significant change. And I've also, my arms and my wrist has actually gotten smaller, and I think my shoe size has gotten smaller. I wear 11s generally, but I have put a new pair on recently, and they're a little loose. So I think I need to go down in size, even in my shoes, which is crazy. But I have this, and like I said, every 6 months or so, I go ahead and I take more measurements. Some things don't change, but that's okay. But even if it's a small change, even if it's like a 1/2 inch or, whatever, it's still a change. And, it's exciting to actually see these numbers go down. So I would encourage you, definitely do your measurements, because I think that's a better indicator of how you're doing than actually just focusing completely on the scale. It really sort of gives you an idea of how the work that you're putting in is actually translating into change. Okay, and one other non-scale victory, which kind of relates to the measurements, is changes in your clothes size. Now, I've gone down quite a bit. At my heaviest, I was wearing a size 4X or 5X in tops and a size 28 pants. Okay, I have to rant a little bit here. I wish clothing manufacturers, and I'm calling them out, especially for women's clothing, can we please do standardized sizes? I can buy a pair of pants, or I can buy different pairs of pants from the same manufacturer, and I wear different sizes. I don't understand. Same thing with tops. Even within the same manufacturer. For my pants, I started at a size 28. I'm now wearing anything from an 18 to a 22, depending. Generally, the jeans that I wear most of the time, they're 20s right now. But I've bought other jeans from the same company, and I can get an 18s no problem. It makes no sense. I just wish clothing manufacturers would make it easier for us women particularly. The men have it a little easier than we do, I think. But it's a crapshoot. It really is. And what's really hard is all of the places that I used to buy my clothes, Lane Bryant, Avenue, Catherine's, there's no brick and mortar stores anymore. So if I order something online, it's a complete crapshoot whether I get something that actually fits me or not. And like I said, I can order something from Avenue or Lane Bryant or one of these, and one pair of pants will fit in a size 20 and another one won't. It makes no sense to me. It drives me absolutely crazy because I can't go into a store and try clothes on. And so I never know what's gonna fit. And it's a pain in the butt to return stuff that doesn't fit. And you gotta pay to return it and all, I just wish clothing manufacturers would get it's hard enough for us plus size people to find clothes that fit and look nice, and then we have to struggle with trying to guess what size to wear. Anyway, rant over. Sorry about that, but that really bugs me. Anyway, so right now I'm wearing size 20 pants. I do have some 18s, and in my tops I'm wearing 22 to 24, 22 24s, or 2XLs. So I guess this would relate to the clothing as well, as I can now go and buy a t-shirt. We had, my husband and I belong to a local mountain bike group, and every fall they have a festival, and every year they sell t-shirts to raise money for the organization as a fundraiser. And I never could buy them because they never offered them in sizes big enough for me. This past October, we went to the mountain bike festival, and I was able to buy a t-shirt, and it fits. It's such a small thing, but I was so excited that I can now and yes, it's a 2XL, it's fine, whatever. But I can get a t-shirt. I never could get I couldn't go places and get a t-shirt as a souvenir because they would never fit me. And I can do that now. And I know it sounds silly, But that's kind of a big deal, you know, and I'm at the point where I can start going to places like Old Navy, like, and buy clothes. I haven't done it yet. I'm not brave enough to go into a regular clothing store and try stuff on, and I have to work up the nerve to that, but I have not yet. But hopefully it'll be soon, because to me that's a non-scale victory. If nothing else, that being able to walk into any store, walk into Target or Walmart or, you know, Old Navy or any of these places and find clothes that will fit and look decent on me, doesn't get much better than that. And I've actually held off buying more clothes. A lot of my clothes are still some of the larger sizes, and I haven't spent the money to actually buy new clothes. I did earlier on in the process when I was losing weight really quickly, and because I needed to, because you know my pants were falling off and all that other stuff, but I haven't yet, and I want to lose a little bit more weight before I try. And like I said, I have some clothes that I bought online that fit me now, and they'll fit me for a little while longer before I'll need to venture into an actual store. But I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm also nervous about it, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. But just being able to do that, you know, especially since all of the plus size brick and mortar stores are gone, to be able to walk into a brick and mortar and go through the racks and find something, that's pretty exciting. I'd love to hear what kind of NSVs that you've experienced. Share them down in the comments. I think sharing each other on and thinking of new ways to celebrate our weight loss besides just the number on the scale, I think that would be great. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give me the thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Again, I apologize for all the noise, but that's what happens when you try to film outside. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Take care.